Hi.
I'm really talking. Oh my God. Hi. How are you?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
I mean, you're amazing. I'm so excited to talk to
Thank
you.
you.
I feel like I'm talking to a celebrity. I've just seen your videos so many times, and I'm like, there he is. He's like on there with me right now, live. It's
Oh
so
my God,
cool.
that's so cool. Like,
I know. Well, you're so cool. I
thank
mean,
you.
okay, so for those people who might not know, how I found, do you go by anything other than Bernard, or is that just kind of like, do you have a
There,
nickname? What do you like? What do you want me to call you?
I mean, Bernard is perfectly okay. Bernard is perfectly fine.
Perfect. Great.
This
Okay.
the government name my mother gave me, but there are multiple. You know, as we get to know each other, you'll probably like figure out one you may want to use that like connects us, and you'll be like, it's fine.
Great. Awesome. Part of me just wants to call you Authentic Burns because like that's how I know you from, like that's your title and stuff. But how I found him was I am a lurker on TikTok. So I haven't posted a bunch of videos, but I watch it every single day. And I came across your account and was completely floored by the amazing poetry that you make, the inspiring messages that you do. And I just like selfishly wanted to have you on here to talk about how you do those things. Because I'm always just really impressed by people who can do poetry, first of all. Like, that is not a gifting of me. But yeah, so tell everybody, like, I know it's hard. Yes. So tell everybody who you are, where you are, because you're not here in LA. So tell them where you are. And, like, tell us your background in the whole thing. I can't wait to get to know you.
Well, I'm so happy to be here. This is awesome. And I feel like we're gonna have a good time.
Yeah, we are.
But my name's Bernard, born and raised actually in Los Angeles, in
No
South Central.
way! What?
Yes,
Okay.
I grew up right over there on Gage and Hoover, right by the
Wow.
110.
Yes.
Like that was literally my whole childhood.
Wow.
And
see, that's cool. That's really cool. All right.
I mean, I like still have a very warm space in my heart for Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Like my family is still there, so I do go back often to visit. Obviously when we're able to, not be a Jeopardy.
Right.
But
I feel like when you come back, like when you're able to, we're definitely gonna go out and have coffee. Like that's gonna happen.
100%.
Yeah.
I will let you know. Like, because that's my thing. When I go, I love connecting with different people. I don't connect like all the time because some days it takes like a lot out of my energy.
Are you
like
me? Are you an extroverted introvert? Yeah,
yes,
right? Like we have
100%.
We gain our energy through being alone, but then we like to expel it on people for short bursts of time. So it's like there's a time limit. So when we're hanging out or like I go to a party, I'm like, I got a time and I'm gonna be out because I just can't. So
right. And then especially because like when people want to be around you, you're like, okay, cool, like I'm here for this. And then after a minute you're like, okay, you guys have low-key depleted me a little bit, so I'm gonna go.
Yeah, I feel you on that. Yes, that's hilarious.
I'm glad somebody gets it. Like, so growing up in LA and everything, I didn't really write, but I've always been artistic in a sense. I've always loved reading. I think the earliest photos I probably even have of me reading is back when I was like 2 or 3. And like you'll see me always kind of holding a book or a newspaper. It'd be upside down, but
But you don't care. Like you're reading the paper. So
right. I was like, it's poetry, girl. You gotta read it backwards and with the twits. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yes. But I'm in New York now, actually. I moved to New York in 2016, April 30th of 2016. I moved here with like my best friend at the time, and he actually moved back to LA. But like we've traveled the world and everything together. And we were like, where are we gonna go? Like, let's go somewhere else. And we met in LA. And I was like, okay, well, let's do either like Canada or New York. And we ended up choosing New York, and we moved together. And it's like my first year here was rough. Oh my God. Like,
girl, my first year here in LA, because I moved here in September of 2015. So this is like my 5-year anniversary coming up. My first year was horrible. like, it's so funny because I look back, I don't know if this happened to you, but I look back at that and I'm like, wow, I did a lot of things, but emotionally, it was the hardest year of my whole life.
What? See, okay, what was it that was hard? Like, what was it about LA that was difficult for you when you moved there?
Yeah. I think because I had lived, I was born and raised in Northern California, but before I moved here, I lived in Virginia for like 13 years. So
Okay.
having that deep rooted, you know, family, friends, jobs, I got married there, you know, like we had built a life. And then to uproot that and move somewhere where I only knew maybe a few people from college and I didn't really, you know, like, so it was the kind of disconnecting the deep rootedness, I guess, is the best way to describe it. Yeah.
Okay.
What about for you?
It was just accepting the city as the
Yeah.
city.
Oh, that
Like,
too. Sure. Like going from, I mean, you know, you lived here, so you were used to a big city. I was not used to like a tight big city.
and that's a change.
That's a change. Yeah.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Like, well, the thing about New York is I was kind of fighting it. Like, growing up in LA, I will say there is a certain level of like bouginess that has stuck.
You're the second person in 2 days to call LA bougie. That's hilarious.
It is. And like, it has no reason to really be bougie, to be honest.
Yeah.
But it just is. And I'm like, girl, can we all really just chill out?
Right.
But like, there's a certain level. So when I got to New York, there was things about New York that I was trying to change, I guess, or fighting against, where I was like, no, like I want, for example, I was like, why is this dirty? Why does this smell like this? Why is this not functioning correctly? Why is these schedules not on time? Like, and there was just, and I was like, and so the friends that I started to make, they were kind of like, girl, like, I'm gonna need you to figure out that like New York is it's been New York. Like,
right.
So you got to either get in it, immerse, or dip.
Yeah.
And so towards the end of my first year, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna really try to give this place a shot. I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna do what I have to do. I'm gonna try it. And once I decided that I was going to accept New York as New York and not the version that I wanted it to be, my whole entire experience changed, and it changed for the better. Because then I started to see the beauty of this place. Like, the energy that's here is unlike anywhere else. The people here, they're entertaining. Like, and it's crazy because people will ask me about like, well, where do you get inspiration for poetry? And I'm like, I live in New York.
I live in the place for inspiration for poetry. Come on. Yeah.
Right. Like, New York is a place where like, if you want inspiration, all you really got to do is walk to your window, and mine's right here. But all you have to do is like walk to your window and just go, floop, and you're looking through and you're like, and I'm inspired. Okay, cool. Because you'll just see something happening, going on, and you like, if you're a person like myself, and I do have many opinions, although like I don't dish them out like I used to, thankfully. My mother's been like, you may want to work on that. But, you know, I don't spew everything, but then I'll write poetry and I'll write what I'm thinking or how I'm feeling, or, you know, so, but that's me.
That's amazing.
I dance, write, all of that.
Yeah, you do. Because you're the bomb. Okay, so another reason I wanted to have you on is because the people who are watching this, our audience are like actors, you know, trying to make it, and those who are sort of interested in doing content creation. Okay. And I wanted to have you on because I felt like a lot of people, when they think content creation, they think like, oh, I have to make a short film, I have to make a web series, I have to make something like that. And what I love so much about you is that you probably could do all of those things, but you have chosen to do, I feel like you could, I don't know. But I feel like you've chosen something that's so cool and unique. Like, you're still filming yourself, but it's not like a traditional like narrative story. It's the poetry. And I wanted people to see that content creation doesn't just have to be one thing that we're told it is here in LA. Like, it can be anything. You could literally film yourself knitting a sweater, and that's content creation, right?
Right. Absolutely.
So I was excited to have people see that, oh, I could write poetry. I could do these things that I have learned to do and share myself with. I think that's another big thing for content creation. But you just made a really good point. about inspiration and finding it everywhere and just
Right.
being open to it. So tell me about, like, when you look out your window,
Mm-hmm.
are you looking for something specific, or are you just like taking it in? Like, how does inspiration work for you? It's a
Um,
really hard question. Sorry.
it is, but it's kind of exciting because so I'm a spiritual person, and the more that I've gotten into my spirituality, the more that I've, dug into my consciousness, my subconscious, and allowed myself to be free and authentically me, hence the name. Like, I've been able to see things in a completely different light. So, prime example, I will look out of my window and I like live across the street from like an auto shop. So, and there'll be like guys out all the time, and I'll see their interactions, and like being an empath is kind of like I'll get feelings, but like I'll get feelings from just like reading posts, for example, or I'll get feelings just like I can hear about a story that's happening halfway across the world, and I'll start feeling a particular pain of those people. And so I'll look outside of my window, see some people interacting, and write a whole poem about it. Four men sitting on the edge of the block, doing that thing, talking that talk, like, just, and it'll start just coming out, enjoying themselves, doing what it is that they do, sharing a connection, something that I hope that will be for me and my boo. Like, I don't know,
Yeah.
like, I'll just start coming up with things. And
this is what I'm talking about. Like, how I don't understand, like, how poetry minds work. You guys first of all, you see the world in a slightly different way. And being an empath, I feel like that's a real asset for you because you get to, like, you really have a connection with emotions and stuff. But putting together sentences that like rhyme and that are really meaningful, how do you do that? I don't understand.
Like, it is what helps me do it, to be honest, was journaling.
Oh,
But
okay.
it was like journaling while trying to tap into my subconscious. This is what I mean. So like I will set a timer sometimes and I'll start writing, but I will never put my pen down. And I will just write and write and write and keep going and keep going, and even if I feel because at that point I'm no longer judging what content I'm putting out. I'm no longer judging what I'm writing down. I'm not judging what I'm trying to say. I'm not judging my point. I'm not judging my thoughts. I'm not judging anything about it. And I'm allowing myself to just freely express. And then at that point, I'm tapping into my creative mind, which is my subconscious mind. The part of me that's not necessarily trying to focus on, well, what is it that people want to hear? What is it that people need? Well, I don't know people. Like, I only know, that's a curl. I only know me, and I only like in me in this space. So I'm just like, well, let me just go and just say whatever's coming to my heart. So I'll just start writing, and I'll like read it over sometimes, and there'll be scribbles. There's sometimes that I'll keep writing and I'm on minute 8 and my wrists are hurting because I set the timer for 20 minutes, but I'm a Capricorn and I'm persistent. So I'm not going to quit. And I'll be like, I'm going to keep writing for 20 minutes. And then I'll find that by minute 12, I'm only guesstimating these minutes, if you will. But by this point, I'll just then have tapped into something completely different. And now I'm just writing. And then I think the last time I did this was for the full moon. And I was doing myself like a full moon ritual thing. And I'm doing like an intuition writing. And next thing I know, the timer goes off and I just literally was like, bop, stop. And
you're like, I'm going to keep going. Yeah.
And I probably kept writing for like another 5 to 10 minutes because at that point, like everything that was coming out wasn't even from like my forefront of my mind. It was things that I guess I just didn't realize. Hi, Megan, deciding the best 846. Like, I was just things that I didn't realize were even in there. And so, and it was kind of exciting because then when I read it back, I'm like, ooh, wait a minute. Okay, let me dig more into this. prime example, sometimes I'll write, and if I don't have anything on my mind, I'll be like, I have nothing on my mind right now, but for some reason, like, I chose that I want to set a timer for this much, and I want to write and just spew out what's going to come out of my mind. So I'm going to keep writing and keep doing things that are going to come out of my mind until something meaningful comes out, because at some point, I'm pretty sure I'll say how I feel, because I know that earlier today I was irritated about this because this happened, but then when I really dig into it, I wasn't really mad at them. I was really mad at myself, but I was only really mad at myself because of the fact that I did this, so it was my fault. And then I was upset at the fact that the bus was late, but the bus wasn't late. I was actually running late, so I missed the bus I was supposed to take. So then, like, I'll just keep writing these things, and then reading it back. Poetry will come out of some of that as well, where it'll be like, I'll write a poem at that point about beating yourself up, you know, or about being late somewhere, or the frustrations of this. I wrote a poem one day, literally, I was waiting for the train. It was a 15-minute wait, and the poem started something about sitting here waiting 15 minutes for this train. Can't believe that it's late. I know they know I haven't even ate. Like, you know, and I just started writing, and then I think I ended the poem with, but why are you so pressed? You know, and that was how I ended it, because I knew that by the time I got to the end of the poem, I had already worked through a lot of my feelings. And I was just like, but what are you really pressed about? Because the train's coming in 2 minutes and you just wrote a piece. And I was like, oh yeah. So yeah.
That's amazing. Okay, so I what I like to do as people are talking about their stuff is like try to pick out what could be really helpful for somebody. So much of that was so helpful. I can't wait for people to watch that back. How do you? I know that a lot of people who are going to watch this now or like in the future, they might want to try their hand at writing poetry, or they just might want to sit down and write a script. They want to do some sort of writing. But what happens, and I can say this from firsthand experience, what happens is that they sit down and then they're not able to like do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How do you get into it? So do you have tips for that really work for you? I mean, you have the timer, so that's good. And I think you have a track record of practice, which shows you that you're like basically creating evidence for the fact that you can write. So you're like, I know it's going to come.
Right.
But for somebody who is maybe really new, then what would be your advice to them? You know,
you actually just tapped into one of them, which was the last thing you mentioned, which is trusting yourself. I trust myself at this point, because I have personally read back enough of my work that have given me excitement and enjoyment and inspiration. And so with that, I'm like, girl, if you can do that, why can't you do this? Will you get blocked sometimes? Absolutely. But everybody gets blocked. Like, I watch a lot of television. I love watching people's acceptance speeches. And you hear people talk about these things all the time.
Yeah.
But I feel like sometimes we be so enamored by the individual that we're speaking about, or just excited at the fact that maybe our favorite, you know, actor or actress just won an award. And then at that point, what's happening is like, we're not really paying attention to the full message. So I'll try to pick out, like, look at their message and be like, okay, well, what do I need from these? And I'm picking out, oh, this person, they had a writer's block. This person, again, writer's block. This person had to tap into something else because they couldn't figure out what it was they really wanted to say. This person, oh, again, it took them 30 years to write a script. Or so I'm like, oh, so we're all in the same boat.
We're all in the same boat.
Same sea. Maybe different ships, but we're in the same sea, you know?
Yeah.
And so I'm kind of like, at this point, it's fine. You've already seen yourself create something great, girl. Like, who's to say that you can't do something else? You think that you're just that one thing? There's no way. Like, the only way that you can be just that is if you choose to be just that. So I'm like, so that's the first thing. I trust myself. The other thing is creating a space. It is so important to have a creative space that allows you to feel safe, to feel comfortable, to feel brave enough to be open, to feel unapologetic about what it is that you're doing, to be forgiving. It's important to create a space where negativity and low vibrations are not really living within that realm, you know, within that arena. For me, that is like my apartment, but more specifically, it's also my room within my apartment. I mean, I do I cleanse my space with several different things, and I am into, as you can see, crystals and things of that sort.
I love your earrings, by the way. I love them. I love
Thank
them.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I'm like obsessed
Africa.
with
Yeah.
right. And
Awesome.
the thing is, they're not even heavy.
Are they wood
So I kind of,
or quartz?
they're wood on the back, and then they're peridot in the front.
Oh, okay. All right. So cute.
Yes, Ebony and Green. She's actually on Instagram too.
Oh, cool. Okay.
But
we'll link her.
yeah. Oh. But yeah. So at that point, it's creating that space. So I know that no matter what, if I can't write something on my couch, if I can't write something, while I'm cooking or something of that sort, I'm writing in my room for sure. Like, and I know that I can write in this space. And I created an energy in here that when I grab my pen, whoever's
It's
in
on.
here, my muses and my guides that help me out, they're like, ooh, okay, we ready.
Yeah.
We ready.
Yeah,
we ready,
yeah.
And
so talk a little bit about, because I've never tried doing like energy work for my room. So how did you learn about that, and kind of what is the practice that you do? Because I know I've seen some of your videos that you have your sage smudge, right? Which is cool. But how did you sort of get into that?
So I want to say it's probably been about like 2 years now. And one of my close friends here in New York, actually, also spiritual, another spiritual person. I one day was looking at, he had beads on, or what I would have called beads at the time. And I was like, friend, what is that around your neck? And he was like, my leggies. And I was like, yes, that. And so we kind of got into it from there. So we started talking about his Elekis, and then we continued to go into like what his spiritual beliefs were. Then from that point, we started digging into like just African spirituality at that point, and then like that spectrum. And then I was like, okay, girl, wait, hold on. So once I started digging into that, there was this complete different energy shift that happened. And I was like, wait a minute, there's something going on here. So that's basically what jump started that for me.
Okay.
And after that, I'm a person who, like, I love knowledge, like information, if you will. Like I am a person who is like a fiend for it. So once you tell me about something, if I don't know what it is, this computer immediately, right, boom, I'm all into it. And it's just, at that point, I get excited because I'm like, ooh, I know something new. And then if I know something new, then that means if I come across someone who doesn't know what I know, then I can tell them, and then we can pass the information around. Yeah. And then I'm like, this is how we all get to elevate and become better, because we all don't have time to learn everything. Information, knowledge, that's infinite. Yeah. So at this point, if you want to be able to figure out or learn as much as you want to learn, you got to connect with people. You got to learn things yourself. And then you got to pass on the knowledge that you have, because to keep it to ourselves would be selfish. So like, and that's just, no, that's not fun. So
that's awesome.
That's literally like kind of how I got into that. And the more research I did, I started to find things that just stuck out to me and resonated with me. And so I was like, so for example, I don't really burn white sage as much anymore, just because I did hear that there's a shortage of it, especially for the indigenous culture of the Americas. So I was like, okay, well, that's okay, because you can cleanse your space with many other things. You can cleanse your space with sweetgrass. You can cleanse it with cedar. You can cleanse it with palo santo. You can cleanse it with rosemary. You can cleanse it with lavender. There's so many different things that you can use to cleanse your space, to remove or repel those negative energies. And also, then I'll use like my crystals to go ahead and not only like ground negative energy, but also remove it, to keep it, or to protect me from, from attracting and sitting on my person. Doing that.
Do you sound? Do you like do any sound work, like with?
Yes, there is. I'm gonna tell you an album that is my absolute favorite.
Oh, I was thinking like, like the little tuning forks and the bowls,
like
and
a singing bowl.
Yeah, but I'm down. Like I'm a music person, so tell me your music. That's awesome.
So my friend Maria actually sent this to me, and it has been, oh my goodness, I love it. I love it so much. Okay, so it's called Vibrational Healing, and it's a very long title, but it's vibrational hearing, 528 hertz.
Oh yeah.
Solfeggio frequencies, and then
Yeah.
it's spa music relaxation therapy. So when other thing that I'll do in my space as well is meditate. Because at that point I'll try to tap into the energies that are just that is in here
I wrote it
and
down.
work. I love it. And it's like if I feel that there's something odd or not right in here, we gotta cleanse it up. And what I'll do is like anybody who if you are burning like sage, Palo Santo, lavender, anything, if you're cleansing your space using smoke cleansing, you definitely want to make sure you open up your windows or your front door and let her out. If not, you got the ghosts just kind of like roaming around and they don't know what to do with themselves. Nobody wants that. You know?
Yeah.
Imagine trying to leave the party, but you can't find the door. So mind you, that happened to me once and not scary form. And I was upset. I was 16 and I was like, I'm never coming here again. This is so scary and I hate it and I can't find the exit.
Also,
yes.
as those people who want to leave that party early, we're like, where's the door? Where is it?
Right.
Yeah.
So those are a few things that I do to kind of get the energy in my space together. And then I recently also just bought a plant. And that has changed.
You became a plant dad. Oh, that's
did.
So sweet.
Oh my God.
That's great. What kind of plant did you get?
It is a Monstera plant.
Okay. All right.
I hear they call it like the Swiss cheese plant. Like that's the nickname for it.
Okay.
But it was really cool because I've never had a plant a day in my life. That I can recall, like my own, like my grandmother has bought me one for like a birthday, but like my mother took care of that, you know?
Yeah.
And so I bought my own plant because I was just like, you know what? I want to have actual life in my space outside of me.
Yeah.
You know, because I consider I'm a spiritual being in a human body and I get it. And I am life, I am existence, I'm energy. But like, I want life happening in here. You know,
because I feel like that's the tip of the iceberg for you. You're probably gonna just go and buy a new plant every week.
And I want a new plant. So I'm with this spider plant now.
Yeah. You should also, I have like a snake plant here. I've got a giant ass fiddle leaf fig here. And then I have a whole balcony full of shit. So
yes. See, it creates a particular vibe in the room. And so, speaking of that, the other thing that I do as well is lighting. Like some days I just need lighting to write. Because if I I just need lighting sometimes to assist me tapping into what it is that I want to talk about. If for example, like if I'm writing something and it's just like 3-4 o'clock a.m. and I need something spiritual, like most my lighting is going to be bluish, indigo-ish, purplish in that vibe. If I'm in a space where I'm feeling real light and bubbly, my lights might be yellow, they might be orange, giving you that like autumn disco type of feel. Like, you know, so I'll pretty much just switch between those things as well. But it's really about like creating that environment where when you go into it, what happens is you automatically feel a sense of wanting to create. Even if it's just something that you didn't even expect to do, because I'll have an idea like, oh, I'm writing about this. Like I want to write my self-said sis poem and I'm gonna do it for TikTok, but I want to speak about this because the follower needs this. And as I'm writing about it, I'm not liking it. And then I'll write something and then that brings a whole other idea. So I'll chop the whole first half and make that something else, maybe a couple, weeks from now. And then just write the new thing that's on my mind.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, because I'm like, let me not judge myself or allow my vision to hinder my artistic growth or my creativity. Because at that point, I'm like, okay, well, you have this idea, but like something else is coming about. So do that too. Don't be like, well, I want to do this. That's fine. You can go back to her. But she's pulling herself out right now. She's trying to claw herself out. Let her out. She's an egg. She's hatching. Let her hatch. You know?
Oh my God. Okay. Let's talk quickly. There's so many questions I want to get to today because I also want to talk about TikTok. I'm curious how you came about being able to, form poetry. I'm just fascinated by poetry. That's why.
An accident, to be honest.
But what you just said was about two really important things. One,
come on, Jon Snow.
So Jon Snow, I feel like when you're here, we're gonna go and have coffee together.
Okay.
He's one of my best friends, and He's a wonderful spiritual guy who is just
Yes.
also totally creative and awesome, and you'll love him. And his real name is Jon Snow. Like from like
No way.
that's his
That is
actual real
so
name.
awesome.
Yeah. John, we're talking about you, but he knows that. So I'm wondering at the beginning of your practice and when you were starting to learn to write and you were like this stuff was coming about. You've mentioned a couple times now not judging yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that is one of the hardest things that artists need to learn how to do.
Right.
And it can be so difficult to not judge because we think that it has to come out perfectly the first time. How many drafts of your poems do you go through? Like when you're doing this, I mean, it's probably not perfect right away, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like
I will gladly show you really quick. I recently wrote this poem the other day, and I was debating whether or not I wanted to put it out because it's very personal. Mm-hmm. But I want to get it out only because I'm not trying to hide it. Because if I'm hiding it from you guys, I'm hiding it from myself, and then I'm not accepting it, and then it's taking up space, and it has residence. You don't need residence. I need that space for something else. But I'll show you, like, as I'm writing, I'm crossing things out, and just, it's so weird. But, like, It makes sense to me, but I'll mark things through, like, nope. But if I have a line, I'll just write the line, especially if it's sticking. Mm-hmm. And if it doesn't make sense with something else, I'll be like, okay, cool, just scratch it out. And then maybe I'll use it another time. But when it comes, even the word perfection, I'm like, what is perfect? What is perfect work? There's no such thing, because the thing is, we change, just like the moon has 13 different phases and she will constantly change her phases each month and no one's stopping her. We're going to change and we're going to have different thoughts. You'll wake up tomorrow probably feeling completely different than you felt today or in this exact moment. So what you wrote right now is not sitting with you the way that it was last night, because now you're in a different headspace. So with that being, I'm like, okay, well then let me just do and let me just write and let me just trust that whatever it is that I have to say is something that I have to say for this moment. And I try to focus more so on what is my goal with this? What is my purpose with this? Not what am I trying to write? Because sometimes what you're trying to create is not necessarily going to help you get your point across or reach the people that you want to reach. And I trust my muses, I trust my guides, and I'm kind of just like, if I'm feeling something and I want to write this, but it's not coming out the way that I want, it's most likely because it's not really sitting authentically with me anyway, and it's not what I want to say or in the way that I want to say it. So I'll just press on. And I'll say, okay, well, I'll write it and I'll leave it there and it'll just be in my in progress folder until it's not. But I have to get it out, because if I never get it out and it only stays in, then I'm not tangibly able to like touch it, see it, smell it, feel it, and all of that. And if I can't do that, then I can't edit it. So then if I never make the first draft, how am I going to get a final draft? So, and the way that I even get to a place to kind of tie that in together where I'm like, this is it. This is what I want to do. It's when I read the whole thing back and I laugh, or I'm excited, or one of my personalities is like, I like that. And then at that point, I'm like, all right, cool. Like, then I'm just going to go with it. And there's a lot of times I'll put out TikToks, poems, and then I'm like, this new line just came to me and I kind of want to do that. But at this point, the video now is at 1,000 views. And I'm like, well, there it is. Never mind. I guess it's just going to be what it's going to be. Yeah. And I'll write that word, like whatever phrase I still wanted to do, I'll still write it down because she might come in handy. You just never know.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So let's talk about TikTok, because this is where I found you. This is where I fell in love with you. And I'm like, you're the second TikToker to come on our little series. Yeah, the first one, her name is Estefania, and she's one of the girls who does. Yeah.
Oh my god.
She's like almost at 400,000, and she's like uses the little hands. Yeah, she was awesome. She came on a couple weeks ago.
Oh my god, I'm gonna have to go and watch that.
It's so good. It's on our YouTube and our IGTV. But so why did you start? Like, why did you decide to join TikTok? How did you start putting your stuff out there? What was your tipping point? Because you have almost like 100, what do you have? Like 120,000 followers. I mean, that's like so big. How did that work for you? Like what was that journey like?
To be honest, a lot of it was an accident. It was the funny thing is, It was an accident. It was boredom, and then it wasn't really boredom, kind of. I'll put her in there because I don't really get bored too often, but sometimes I'm like, I need something else.
Yeah,
but it was an accident mixed with boredom, mixed with Megan Thee Stallion. So all of that combined created this Powerpuff Girl. So basically what ended up happening was, this was March or April. It was either March or April. No, it was March.
I'm sorry, you've only been on TikTok since March?
Yes.
Like since the pandemic hit? And you already have that many followers?
I don't know.
So basically, it's just a testament to how people connect with you and what you're doing.
Right, which is why I will say that I continuously try to encourage, promote, and provoke others to accept themselves as they are today and to do what is coming to mind. And that is because you hear celebrities talk about it. I am not anybody's celebrity by any means, in my opinion, or at least not yet.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I literally got on a camera and did me as me unapologetically, and people kind of took on to it. And I'm like, I can't please everybody. I don't know everybody. I don't know what everybody likes. And there's also too many people. So if I decided that I was going to try to be somebody for everybody, I'm going to end up being nobody because I haven't even focused or really cultivated one of those bodies.
Right.
So I'm kind of like, at this point, only thing that I can do is just be me and understand and accept that some people will like it, some people will be and some people may hate it. Yeah. Like, some people may not even care. Some people may not even be thinking about me. And I'm like, and it's perfectly fine. So I just go ahead and I'm like, girl, I only can do what I can do. And I've lived enough of my life for other people. So I'm kind of done with that part. And I'm like, it's time for me to live it for me. I don't know how long I'm going to be here. This pandemic had us all very shook. And a lot of us are still very shook. Or coming out of that shookenness. So I'm kind of just like, I want to be happy, and I'm making a choice to be that. Yeah. But when it comes to TikTok, I was 4 days into quarantine, and I was not planning on getting a TikTok. I was like, no, TikTok is for the kids. Like, I see all the kids on there. So I was like, absolutely not. So, especially because I'm like, I'm inspirational and I appreciate that, but I'm also vulgar. Like, some days I'm an adult. Like, I'm going to say what I want to say. So it may not come out, PG.
Yeah.
And that's
okay.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
And so, but I was like, and so this Megan Thee Stallion challenge that came around with I'm a Savage, that whole thing. And I was like, I didn't know what a whoa was, but I was like, you know what? It's fine. Like, I'm about to enter the 30 club and it's cool, but I'm going on TikTok. So I went ahead and I was like, forget it. So let me download TikTok because I want to do the Megan Thee Stallion challenge because I'm obsessed with her. Yeah. And so I go on there specifically for that. And I'm also like, Queen Bee is one of my biggest inspirations. And I went ahead and my birthday was in January and she dropped the line January 18th. So I was like, thank you, sis. You did this for me. How dare you? Thank you. So I went ahead and broke my whole entire bank. It was like, I'm buying the collection. I want the thing. So I didn't buy everything, but I probably bought about 12 pieces. And so for me and for my mom. And so I was like,
that's sweet.
My mom is my best friend. So I put on my little Ivy Park jumpsuit and I went into my kitchen. It was 3:00 in the morning and I made a TikTok, made the Savage, posted it. And I was trying to figure out how to work it. Cause I was like, ooh, girl, these are a lot of different steps and options. Oh my God.
It's a lot. Yeah.
So I was like, forget it. I'm not going to do a lot. I'm going to just put a little filter on it and I'm going to make a little sparkle, keep it simple. Yeah. And I woke up the next morning and it was at 20,000 views. And I was
holy
like,
crap. What? On your first TikTok?
On my first TikTok.
F you. No, I'm just kidding.
But it was during the height of the Savage challenge. But then Ivy Park was still, it is, I'm pretty sure it is still, but like like a thing people wanted. So I guess I just kind of got lucky in that sense. And I woke up the next morning and my phone just kept lighting up. And I was like, what is going on? Because my phone does not ring like that at all. You know?
Yeah.
I talked to the same 3 people. So I was like, what is going on? And I was like, so I click on notification and TikTok opens up and I was like, what?
Yeah.
And so I text one of my friends. I said, girl, question for you. What does it mean to go viral? What's the qualifications? Like, are there requirements? Yeah. And next thing I know, I work with a guy he's 22. So I know he knows, and he has, you know, I think like 15,000 followers or something on IG. And he's, you know, he's popular around here. So he texts me a couple days later and goes, girl, you're going viral. And I was like, well, I guess I know what it means now. So I'm laughing because I think it's hilarious.
Because you're like, if the youths know, then I must be going viral.
Right. I was like, if Gen Z says it so.
Then it's so.
You know? So pretty much like I just kept making random TikToks and I do love to act. I started off acting. And so I found like these different voiceovers and I was like, oh girl, you guys have awoken to new beats. And it was funny because once I got a hold, like once that Savage Challenge did what it did, I was determined. I said, you know what? I went on my Facebook and this post is probably still there. Oh my God, I didn't even go back to it, but I was just like, just so you know, the moment I get a hold of TikTok, it's over for y'all. And I was making a joke. Next thing I know.
And you're not wrong. Yeah. You're not wrong.
It ended up happening. Yeah. But what got me like big on TikTok, if you will, or bigger, if you will, was the poetry. But the very first poem, like my first poem that I wrote for TikTok was for the 30+ crew. So I made, what was I on? I was seeing comments on Twitter. I was seeing comments on Facebook, little random memes everywhere. And people were like, y'all adults need to get off TikTok and let kids do what they gonna do. And I was like, first of all, that's how I know you're not on TikTok, because on TikTok, I see nothing but grandmothers and I see adults and I see wives talking about their husbands not cleaning up, talking about their kids being a mess, talking about what it's like trying to tutor their kids while their husband's trying to watch TV. I was like, I'm seeing more adults on my TikTok feed than I am seeing anybody else. I'm seeing like OD makeup artists, like posting a lot of great content. One of my favorite makeup artists on TikTok is RYR. She actually just joined in too. So like I was seeing a whole bunch of fantastic.
Hi Ryan.
Hey Ryan.
Yay, another TikToker! Yay!
And she's fantastic. Does really great work. And she recently actually just did a makeup look to one of my poems from my website. And
is it the thing with the cloud and the thing?
Yes. And the entire
that was RYR.
That was RYR.
Girl, that was so. I'm talking to both you and her. Girl,
like I was
like so moved by that. It was so good.
Thank you. And thank you to her. Like thank you,
and
Ryan.
Like both of you guys. That's the thing I love most about TikTok is that totally disparate people can come together and collaborate in ways that they never would have done before. Like I'm now friends with you and I'm friends with Estefania, and I never would have met you had it not been like you guys putting out amazing stuff that I like find amazing and valuable to me. Woo!
Yes. And you know, it's crazy because like I wasn't even going to do anything with that poem outside of just posting it on my website. And that was because I was like, the poem, sorry, I'm in New York, you know, always.
It's fine. It happens all the time. Totally fine.
But like with the poem, I wrote it for Black women and just for my mother specifically and then all the other Black women around the world. And I didn't want to do anything with my face on it only because I was like, it's not really about me. It's not for me. You know, I'm non-binary, but like I don't identify as a woman and it is called Black woman.
Right.
And so I went ahead and I was like, you know what? Like, I'm just going to leave it there. And then I'm chilling on my couch actually. And Ryan texted me and asked me like, you know, if I could record it. And I was like, well, I wasn't planning on doing anything with it. But I was like, if you want, sure, like, I'll record it for you. So I literally, like, woke up I was like, it was early in the morning. And I recorded just like me, like a voice note of me doing, not a voice note. I recorded a TikTok of me doing it, but I made it private. And then just sent it to her. So that way she just had the audio. And I said, there you go, boo. Like, do whatever you want. Like, I'm cool. And she was just like, thank you. She's like, I think I'll do a video this time. I was like, whatever your spirit is telling me. I said, it is for you. I was like, honestly, it is not for my face to be on it. It is for the face of who it's intended for, you know? And when I was at work yesterday and she sent me the video and I'm like I work with computers and stuff. And so I'm like repairing stuff. And next thing I know, she sends me this text message. She's like, I hope you like it. And I watch it and I was just like,
yeah.
Oh my God.
You guys, for those of you guys who are watching, you should, it's on your TikTok account, right? Like
it's on my TikTok. It's on her TikTok, her Instagram, my Instagram,
right,
and my Facebook.
And I'll link to that when I post the video back on our stories after we're done today. I'll post your thing so people can go and click on that so they can see it because it's stunning. It's stunning. Okay, so let's quickly talk about the cis. Like I said to myself, cis poetry, and then we'll talk about that you're publishing a book. I'm so excited to pre-order it. I'm so excited. So tell us how you, because I'm sure that the cis poetry isn't the only poetry you write, but I think it's the first thing that I saw that I was like, this is so good. So how did that come about? And then let's talk about your book, and then because we've only got about like 10 minutes left. So
okay.
Yeah.
So myself said cis came by complete accident.
Really?
Complete and utter accident.
So, okay. So this is like the third time you've said the word accident. And I'm like, is it an accident or is it divine intervention? I'm just going to say that.
It is. I think it's divine intervention. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
I do think that it's divine, but saying that sometimes people look at me kind of crazy and they're like, you're weird. And I'm like, yes, I am. But I'm also being real.
Yeah.
And so the way that this all played out, I used to work on cruise ships for 4 years as a dancer, and I met one of my oh my God, I can't wait.
We have to talk. Like, you and I just need to have a conversation. We should just take time. Yeah.
We're officially friends. It's real. You know?
Awesome.
So one of my friends, I was working for Norwegian at the time. She was working for Nickelodeon. We were on board together, working together. And her and we just connected. Her name is Jazz. So Jazz hit me up and was like, hey, boo. And she's from England. And she was like, I'm trying to do the Don't Rush challenge. But I want to use, she's like, instead of having just like just my friends, blah, blah, blah. She's like, I want to use friends from all around the world because I want it to be a Don't Rush challenge for the world. And I was like, oh, that's dope. She's like, can I get you to represent the U.S.? And I said, ooh, okay. But
like, the whole U.S.?
Right. But so I was like, text me, boo. Let me know what you need, what time you need it, by, how long you need me to record, what parameters you need me to do, how you want me to send it to. So she gave me what she needed. I went ahead and sent her that plus a little extra and was like, well, I'll send you individual clips. I'll send you the clips put together, already edited, and then I'll send it to you with no sound. I was like, just so that way you have what you need. I was like, and if anything else, hit me up. I got you, girl. But by this point, it's early in the morning. I've already beat my mug. My hair was done. I had the accessories on. I think I had my Ankh earring. I had a blue tux on, like a blue suit on, a turtleneck. Like, I was dressed down. And
you were like, yeah.
Right. So I looked in the mirror and I said, girl, you look fire. I said, what is this? So I took some photos and then I was like, okay. And it was the beginning of the pandemic. And so I did not want, like, I literally quarantined myself, like, for real, probably for like 3 months. Not going anywhere. Only place that I would go is the 3 blocks to get to my grocery store. And that was it. And outside of that, you didn't see me. You didn't even know I existed. And so, long story short, I was in this outfit. And back then I was drinking a lot of wine just because I was like, girl, I don't have nothing to do. Like, I don't have no work. I don't blah, blah, blah. And so I put my little camera up. And I walked into the camera and I was just like, so I woke up on the buttery side of the bed this morning and I said to myself, myself said, sis. And I was like, what we're not going to be doing today is being in those same rusty, crusty pajamas. And literally that was all freestyle. I didn't write any of that down. The first few Myself Said Sis was not written. It was just free. It was
Wow.
improv.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I just started talking, and I had the wine. And mind you, that glass was like full, but that was like my third glass. So, and it was because I was recording it, and then I was drinking while I was recording, and then I was like, no, let's do it again. And then I was like, dang, the glass is too empty. Let me fill it up again. And I walked back in, and then I was like, at one point I was like, girl, you're drunk. Like, I wasn't. But I was like, sweetie, you can't keep drinking the wine. You got to pretend, girl.
Yeah.
And so by this point, I'm having a ball. And I'm feeling inhibitions out. I was like, forget it, girl. Play the camera. This is it. And I'll do this. Like, I'm with I was here alone. So I was just like, girl, you're about to record. This is your take. Go. And I just let it rip. I posted it. And then it became a thing. And I was like,
yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one girl, she said, let me scroll back up to it because I agree with her. She says, "Hey sis, gives me life. I can't express how much I've learned from that series." And I would agree with her because more than just like it being fun, what you talk about, especially even now as it's kind of developed and grown, is so much deeper than just let's get out of our shitty clothes, but it's more like here's how we're going to deal with our soul today.
Right.
And it's so good. So is this what's going to be in the book that you're publishing, or is it just like all sorts of work? Tell us all about it.
So in this particular book, it's not going to be the Myself Said Sis.
Okay.
And that's only because this being my first one, I wanted to take poetry that I write that people normally don't ever get to see or hear me do or like recite, or that I've done for open mics in the past. And I wanted to put it together to try to get other people to kind of find peace. I know we're always searching for happiness. Granted, I don't think that you can find happiness because happiness is literally right here. You just got to pull her out. I feel like when you're happy in here, happiness is always with you. You don't have to go find it. Yeah. And so I wanted to encourage people to seek peace, if anything, and get into a peaceful state. But I know in order to do that, there's something called shadow work, and you want to. And what helps me with shadow work?
That's a whole other topic. Yeah.
Right. Yes. But it's knowing that you're not the only one going through what it is that you're going through, and it provides a little bit of comfort. It doesn't always help you get out of it, but it provides some comfort, and some comfort is better than none. Do you have it? Do you have the book there? Can yeah.
Yay! By the way, I love that cover. I think it's so cute.
This is from this year, January 10th, on my birthday at the Rose Mansion.
Yes, it's so beautiful. So how can people, as they've gotten to know you on here and I'm sure as you've seen lots of the comments, like I'm obsessed with you on TikTok, where can they go to pre-order that book? Because I think it's going to be a big seller for you. At least I'm going to try my darndest to make it a big seller.
Thank you. So. My mom keeps bigging me up. She's like, son, I hope you're ready. You're about to be, and I was like, Mom, stop it. Oh my God.
You're like, stop.
But you can pre-order the book on my website, bernardvelasquez.com. There's a link in my Instagram bio. You can click that. That's going to take you to my link tree, and it's going to be the second option. If you go to my if you're on my TikTok, the link in my bio there, take you to my link tree, and the link is right there. You can pre-order it right from my website.
That's awesome. How much is it?
It is $22.22.
Easy peasy. That's like 3 drinks at Starbucks.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Come on. And the thing is, one of my managers actually, he was like, "You wrote a book?" I was like, "Yeah." He was like, "What did he?" So he goes to my website and he sees it. Then he finds me later on and he goes, "So what's with the pricing mean 2222? Is there significance with the number 2?" I was like, "Yes." I was like, the number 2 is it's a feminine number. I was like, it is the number that comes after 1, so they typically take the weight that the 1 can no longer carry. The 2, if you look at the shape of it, it has the ability to be able to hold on to so much, take the blunt of so much that the weight that's being pushed onto itself. But when that weight is lifted and it comes out of that, it bounces back because it has elasticity. And it goes back to its shape because it's able to it has the base there to hold itself and stabilize, and then that curvature, and it goes back. I said, so, and throughout life, we go through things, and we think that we can't really bounce back, but we can, and we do. All the time. We just don't.
See right here, this is what I'm talking about when I said he was going to make you fiercely believe in yourself. This is what I'm talking about, because what I love so much about you is that everything has meaning.
Mm-hmm.
All the words that you speak, everything, it's just so ripe and full of meaning and expression and spirituality. I just love that so much about you.
Thank you.
Oh my God. Okay.
I just want us all to win, and we can. If we can all live here, if there's enough space for us all to live, I'm pretty sure there's enough room for us all to win. You know?
Yeah. Well, I would kind of like want to have you back on, but I also just want to like have wine with you. So let's just do that. Off the top of your head, as we're like wrapping up here, because you're a poet, who are some of your other favorite poets that you love to read?
Oh, Lucille Clifton, hands down. Like Lucille Clifton is everything.
Okay.
Also, Jill Scott.
Yes!
She is a musician,
I love Jill
and
Scott.
people may be like, oh, she's not a poet, but Jill Scott is a lyricist. She is a poet. She is everything. Hence the shirt that I am wearing today. Yes. Also, Erykah Badu. Hence the shirt that I am wearing today.
Yeah. I loved their collaboration a couple months ago. That was so fun. Also, Jill Scott is an amazing actress. Let's just gonna put that out there. Jill Scott's an amazing actress. She's in one of my favorite shows that HBO ever did, which is the #1 Ladies Detective Agency. If you haven't seen that, go on HBO. It's awesome.
I have not, and I will be.
Oh, yes,
I most definitely will be.
It's great. It's from a book series. They like adapted a book series. It's set in Africa. It's amazing. Okay, cool. So Lucille
Metamorphosis.
Okay.
Yes. So Lucille Clifton, Jill Scott, Metamorphosis. Brilliant. Oh my God, so brilliant. My friend Maria Burgos is also one of my favorite poets. She's the one who actually got me to start writing poetry. She was like, friend, she's like, just please write, just because I'll randomly spit bars because I think that I'm a rapper sometimes. And she was like, I want you to just write poetry. Just write it. And I was like, girl, and I had to thank her in a book because I was like, if it wasn't for you, like, oh my goodness. But she's another one of my favorite poets. I'm trying to think who else is really big for me when it comes to poetry. Teresa, I think her name is Teresa Songbird.
Okay.
She has a poem, oh my gosh, I think it's called So Black, but she did it on an award show and she was like, you are so black. And it's like the way that she recites poetry, you feel every syllable that comes off the tip of her tongue. It is fantastic.
That is amazing. We have a minute left. We have a minute and 4 seconds left. I am so bad at when I get people on that I'm really excited to talk about. I am really bad at time management, so I'm sorry.
It's okay.
So how can people find you if they're just like tuning in just now? Like, give us all of your handles and all that stuff.
You can find me on Instagram, on TikTok, and on Twitter, Authentic Burns.
Mm-hmm.
And you can also, my other page that I post like just my photos on is InstaBurns.
Ooh, is that just here on Instagram?
That is on Instagram. That's the only one on Instagram, yes.
That's awesome. And you have a website, BernardVelasquez.com.
Bernard Velasquez, right? I forgot my own website, BernardVelasquez.com. If you like poetry and blogs, I do both on my website and I post content all the time. You can subscribe. And I'll send out like a weekly newsletter. Sometimes I won't do it every week because I know everybody don't want that all the time in the emails.
Yeah.
But my website, BernardVelasquez.com, has poetry that you could always access.
It's going to cut us off. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Bye, everybody. Thanks